Well, good morning. It is June 30th, day 54 on the trail for me. I have left the Thistle Hill shelter and am walking roughly eastward, but northbound on the trail. Rained most of the night, well, probably at least until 1 a.m. So I was glad I was under the shelter, even it had a tin roof, or yeah, maybe not tin, but a metal roof, so it was sort of loud in there, but with the earplugs in, it wasn't too bad. Rough plan for today is about 15 miles. That'll get us to Norwich, which is still in Vermont, and then Hanover, which is in New Hampshire. This is an apple tree. They're not ripe yet, or even close to ready, but that's pretty cool. Just right here on the trail, an apple tree. Anyways. And then, so do some resupply there. Not exactly sure, where when I get closer to town, I'll figure out where I'm going to resupply, whether it's on the Norwich side or the Hanover side. And maybe grab something to eat in town. And then 1.5 more miles outside of town is another shelter area. So we'll see how that goes. So, it's going to be about 16.5 miles plus whatever walking I do in town. It's supposed to be kind of warm today. I heard that the high was around 80, which is, warmer than it's been in the past week. And there's a chance for a thunderstorm in the early afternoon. So I'll have to see how things are going, whether I'm, how close I am to town, whether I need to sort of take shelter for a little bit, let the storm pass. All right, so that's the rough plan for now. As always, if I see anything interesting, I will grab a picture or some video. But here's what the trail looks like right now. Alright, so I'm just walking along the trail, and it looks like we've got some maples that are hooked up for tapping to get the syrup. So got a bunch of lines running down. Can't know exactly how far they go. I'm sure that there's a collection station along here somewhere. Boil it to make the actual syrup. So that was pretty neat. I hadn't seen that yet. All right, it's about 11:30. I've done just about 10 miles. Got a few miles to Elm Street, and then it's a road walk into Norwich, across the river, change states, and I'm in Hanover. Hasn't been really much in the way of views today. It's been nice and dry in the air, not really. It's been kind of humid today, actually. But it's been sunny. Just, nothing to look at. Unfortunately, it seems like every once in a while, we have to go through a field. And of course, when you go through the field, if it rained the day before, all the grasses are wet, and it gets on your socks, and then it gets in your shoes, and my socks and shoes are wet. The rest of me is also pretty wet because of the humidity and just from the sweating. But yeah, that's frustrating. And it's a relatively sunny day. It's not raining, but your feet are wet. All right, so I will probably pick back up during that road walk if there's anything interesting on the way into Norwich. And then, of course, crossing over into Hanover. But here's what the trail looks like right now. I'm crossing the Connecticut River. I think since I think Vermont is the west bank and New Hampshire is the east bank of the river. Or something like that. So I think I'm in pretty much in New Hampshire now. Oh, there's the sign. Okay. There we go. Vermont on the left, New Hampshire on the right. So just across the way, that's the Dartmouth College. And that's the Dartmouth Parade in the foreground. It's tough in Vermont. There I am. Prezzies. That's what's coming up. Get on the main and get out of it. This is athletics compound for Dartmouth. It's right next to the trail. Well, so finished up the hike. I'm at the Velvet Rocks shelter area, just a mile and a half outside of Hanover. Just uphill. You could, I suppose if you squinted through the trees, you might be able to see the Dartmouth College grounds. But it's a nice little site. There's actually a group here from the from Dartmouth College. They're an outing group, and so they're here, just 4 of them. They hiked up, and probably for a couple of them it's their first night in under the stars in tents. So the rough plan for tomorrow is about 15 miles into New Hampshire, and get a couple of smaller peaks. I think actually I think there's 3 peaks tomorrow. They're all in like the 2,000 to 2,500 elevation range. Um, and not all of them are, from even near ground level, so not horrible. Yeah, and then the intermediate goal is in a few days. I'm gonna so I guess I've got like 3 days of sort of regularish hiking, and then I think I'm gonna do get to a hostel, and I'm gonna do a double. I'm gonna do 2 nights at the hostel, and do a slack pack over Mount Musalaki. I think that's the plan right now. We'll have to see how that goes, but I'm thinking that's going to work out well. I hear it's a tough, if you're going northbound, going up is okay, and going down is tricky. So what I'm going to do is what they offer the southbound version of that. And so you have the tougher part going up, which I prefer, and then the easier part coming down. So I think I'm going to do that. Spend a little bit of money, but I think that'll be the better way for me to go. So that's the rough plan right now. I'd love to, one of these days, I'd like to get back up here, because the towns that I walked through there at the end. Hanover, it looks like a pretty interesting little town. I'd like to come back up and check it out one of these days. We'll see how, if I can ever do that. Let's see. Hey, big thanks. Huge thanks today to Jim McCloskey. Jim, very generous donation to the GoFundMe. Thank you, Jim. It is truly appreciated. And I'm going to be in touch with you shortly, just to coordinate something. Jim is a colleague of mine at Valencia College, and he was actually in the room the very first time that I was on campus. He was in the room. They did a small hiring committee, and I guess he said okay. 23 years ago, and I've been there since. And we've been on a couple of different groups together, and he's a very good guy, and I don't know what much else to say, but thank you, Jim. I really do appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you again later in the fall when I get back. As always, if you've stuck through to the end, I appreciate it, and I will see you again tomorrow on the trail.